Mozambique, Tzu Chi volunteers help distribute food to 9 local communities and over 2,400 families. In Cambodia, Tzu Chi partnered up with the local NGO and held an aid distribution for over 3,000 drivers. Selamat datang ke Diet Headlines, saya Simon Gunn. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. Welcome to Diet Headlines. Thank you for joining us. In Mozambique, the pandemic has led to more starving people. Tzu Chi volunteers help distribute food to families in need, prepared enough for a family of 5 to get by for a month. This assistance has reached 9 local communities and over 2,400 families.
Each freight truck contains food to help the disadvantaged. The day before the distribution, volunteers adhere to safety measures and pre-pack 8 items ahead of time. Each package weighs about 41 kilograms and is enough food to feed a family of 5 for a month. Each week, Tzu Chi visits the community to host a food distribution. As Tzu Chi knows there are more people who they cannot reach, they ask the recipients to pass the love forward. Salamina is one of Tzu Chi's long-time care recipients, and this time her grandson is with her, as she has used Tzu Chi's 10 precepts to educate him.
No fumar, no matar, no beber, no outro.
Não eu cristão, eu rezar, só trabalhar, colar na casinha.
Salamina was very worried about her grandson's habit of smoking and doing drugs. She had a hard time taking care of him, but then she learned to use love and to give more of it to his grandson.
I have to teach them the right ways in life. Otherwise, when I'm gone, they will lead a very crooked life, and it will be hard for them.
The phrase "Gan-en," which means the giving of thanks in Mandarin, has become the most common foreign phrase in these communities.
Is it heavy?
No, not too much.
Thank you, Master Zhen Yan, for helping those of us here in Mozambique. Your love remains with us, and may you be blessed.
In the U.S., San Francisco Tzu Chi volunteers have been caring for families in need in Hunters Point since 2009. Since the pandemic has impacted many disadvantaged families, volunteers have provided masks, cash cards, and also Jingsi multigrain powder for underprivileged families. Schools in San Francisco have been closed since March, but the care towards the families of the students has never stopped.
Previously, the school provides breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the students. Now the school is closed, they're forced to prepare the meals by themselves at home. Some single-parent family might not be able to afford this burden.
Bret Hart Elementary School has been distributing food bags twice every week.
These are the food for 3 days. These 3 are breakfast. We have provided 3 days' supply of apples.
Sending love during the pandemic, Tzu Chi volunteers provided masks, cash cards, and Jingsi multigrain powder for the families in need for the 4 schools in Hunters Point.
We targeted 3 different types of families. First are the families who were tested positive of the virus. Second are the families with no identities. Third are the single-parent families with no jobs. So in total, we assisted 19 families from the 4 schools.
Liori is a single father who just recovered from the COVID-19 virus and is also on the list of the families being assisted.
Putting us out right now in this time during the pandemic when we don't have a lot of ways to make money. And I just really want to say that they're doing this from their heart and their pockets, and this is just like a great program, and I commend them for it, and I appreciate them for that.
We appreciate everything that you do for us and that we take care of one another. That's our top priority here, is making sure that we take care of everybody.
In this time of the pandemic, volunteers are providing selfless love and care to calm the hearts and minds of the residents. In Paraguay, volunteers from Asuncion City continued to provide epidemic prevention materials for the prison which previously experienced cluster infection. They also provided daily necessities for 500 disadvantaged families living in the countryside.
As the epidemic continues, Tzu Chi's poverty relief program has not stopped. Volunteers from the Asuncion Liaison Office in Paraguay went to San Carlos village, which is a 3-hour drive from the city, to distribute 500 food packages.
Thank you, Tzu Chi Foundation. This is not the first time they helped us. We will have a better life after receiving these supplies. Thanks, God. Thank you, Tzu Chi.
For the sake of epidemic prevention, volunteers hosted the distribution outdoors. In addition to daily necessities such as rice and noodles, volunteers also prepared blankets to keep the residents warm as it was winter in the southern hemisphere.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for donating the supplies. These are what we mostly need now. With these gifts, we can share with our family generously.
Really, thanks, Tzu Chi, very much. May God bless you.
Volunteers' timely assistance has not only taken care of the people living in difficulties, but also the prison in Tacumbo district of Asuncion, which has reported cluster infections before. Volunteers immediately sent epidemic prevention materials there.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for providing us with anti-epidemic supplies without fear when we mostly need assistance. Thank you for your help and dedication. I hope you will come to care and assist us in the future. Also, let us know more about Buddhism.
While the volunteers show their care, they also express gratefulness to the officials for sticking to their posts so as to ease public worries.
In Cambodia, local tuk-tuk drivers, whom have vastly relied on tourism to earn a living, are suffering due to the pandemic. As a result, Tzu Chi, in partnership with the local young volunteer group, held an aid distribution for over 3,000 drivers. Let's take a look.
In Cambodia, many tuk-tuk drivers are suffering from a lack of customers and income during the COVID-19 period.
Life is really difficult right now. Sometimes there are customers, most of the time there aren't. Sometimes I don't even earn $1 a day. We are running out of money to buy food to eat.
Most tuk-tuk drivers take out loans to pay for their vehicle. If their income is reduced, then they won't be able to make the monthly payment. If their payment amount is $150, that means they don't make enough to repay that. How will they be able to support their living expenses?
With a reduction in income, making ends meet becomes a problem. Thus, Tzu Chi is providing these disadvantaged drivers with 20 kilograms of rice, instant noodles, and bread. Thanks to the help of a local young volunteer group, Tzu Chi was able to host this distribution.
Because the number of people is so many, we are starting with helping their families maintain food for about 1 or 2 months.
Thank you for the assistance during this time with rice and instant noodles. This helps us to reduce our expenditures during this time.
Tzu Chi is filling their stomachs and also protecting their health with the support of a local business.
We're a clothing manufacturing company, but we can make masks too. So we partner with Tzu Chi to make the mask for 4,500 people. We're happy to be able to contribute to this event.
Not only protecting themselves, but also their customers. Each vehicle also receives a sticker of caution to remind people of the ways to stay safe.
Everyone is out in Phnom Penh and coming into contact with lots of people, so your risks are higher. You need to tell your customers the dangers of the virus and ask them to wear masks and wash hands frequently.
The 2 days of distribution has helped a total of 3,300 drivers shed some burden in life. And as they express their gratitude upon leaving the event, they also continue the cycle of love.
In Hubei province, heavy rain in June and July led Qingming-Hexiang to experience flooding because of excessive discharge from the dams. Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to investigate the disaster area and drew up a comprehensive care plan.
Flooding on June 28th reached as high as this roof. Yes, floods reached the top on June 28th.
Accompanied by the township chief, volunteers walked in Qingming-Hexiang and looked back at the heavy rain in June. Although the flood has receded, there's still traces of ruthless flood water on the wall.
Here is the flood diversion area, so the government does not allow you to raise this area because it will affect the dikes over there. So if you have water flow of 3,000 cubic meters per second, as soon as the water rises, it naturally overflows the embankment.
人在地里面，他把它捡起来，也舍不得浪费啊。这是捡了之后呢，好喂鸡，这是珍惜粮食，
Most of the residents here depend on farming for their livelihoods. The youth population undertook an extreme exodus. In the face of the epidemic and natural disasters, farmers can only grit their teeth.
那平时有跟你们老两口那个寄生活费吧？
寄不少数的拔点
啊，少数的拔一点。哦，还真的。
他的负担也不小了。
哦，现在生活有困难不？
生活有困难慢慢的，有困难就是说自己想不关键，所以说不去政府还说咱就不用光依靠政府噻，要是搞钱，自己有那个经济关键负担噻。
把它买了，这也是我们。
In order to prevent Gampa Tzu from running around selling vegetables, volunteers brought these freshly picked beans at a high price.
200 yuan. We gave you a little more. It can be considered a little gift from our heart. No need to give us change. Just take 200 yuan.
Volunteers visited house by house and visited 3 villages to personally show their condolences and care, understanding the needs of residents in a disaster situation to formulate follow-up assistance.
Health and longevity to you. Try to live well.
好吃，好吃。
To celebrate the 30th anniversary of the publication of Tzu aphorisms, this year, in combination of the upcoming lunar blessing month of July, a musical performance was held in Neihu. The Taiwanese opera troupe Tang Meiyun also performed an adaptation of The King Pasanadi Goes on a Diet to help encourage more people to adopt a vegetarian diet. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the event.
On stage is South Duets, a singing duo, who are also volunteers today as they give a voice to the lyrics of the Tzu aphorism songs.
The song reading Tzu aphorisms, when listened to, can help bring about peace and calmness. It was written to honor the 20th anniversary.
10 years after the song was written, we all have experienced life during that time. And of course, revisiting the wise words will have different meaning to us.
Adapting a scene from the sutra text, King Pasanadi Goes on a Diet, Tang Meiyun Taiwanese opera troupe has incorporated vegetarianism into the storyline.
It's easy to convince ourselves that we'll eat differently the next meal. However, I chose this sutra adaptation for many reasons. As such, the master continues to remind us that there are many things in life which cannot wait for us, like global warming.
Through the sutra adaptation and the sharing of the volunteers, big and small, the audience understands there are options which may be more compassionate when satisfying one's hunger. Meanwhile, Tzu aphorisms continue to play a role in helping to purify people's spirits.
Last year was the 30th anniversary of Tzu aphorisms, and we had a series of music performances. This year we continue to do so, and the premiere was in Neihu. But we also had a simultaneous performance in Nantou. We hope to inspire more readers through different methods.
The young volunteers of the Tzu Books and Cafe put on a performance and charmed the audience with their singing, marking a perfect end to the event.
Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center has stood the testament of time for 34 years. On August 15th, a celebration ceremony was held to appreciate the kindness of the medical staff. Let's join them there.
This celebration marks the 35th anniversary for the medical center. Many participants showed up to witness happiness and joy.
I really appreciate Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Chi, also thanks to the nursing staff.
At the age of 13, she is filled with greatness because she is now able to walk normally after treatment. Her right leg has severe aneurysm, which affects her body function. The disease happened around the age of 3, but she was unable to be treated due to poverty. Last year, with the help of Tzu Chi volunteers, she made the trip to Taiwan and recovered under the extensive care of medical staff.
I'm grateful to everyone here. My sickness is cured. I also welcome you to visit Laos. Thank you.
These people have created medical miracles. The ceremony praises senior staffs and members of the center. There are 24 staffs and members who stayed at their post and worked for 30 years.
Actually, I like Hualien a lot. I like the nature. This is why I think the environment here is quite different from Taipei. I choose a proper place to work and use my specialties. That's why I stayed and have a family here.
I always like a saying from Master Cheng Yan that when the chance comes, we accept it with happiness. As a matter of fact, when I arrived here in 1990, I was very unsettled because there's no one here and I had to work by myself. I felt much pressure at that time.
30 years ago, former pathology physician from National Taiwan University Hospital was commissioned to serve at Hualien. He stayed till this day. Many nameless heroes poured in their hearts and efforts to set the path, and now the medical center has more responsibilities.
CAR T is an outstanding technology that we have. Recently, the Ministry of Health and Welfare approved this treatment. We have the most CAR T treatments. Out of the 19 medical centers, Hualien Tzu Chi Medical Center has the most.
医疗呢，我们都是大家用克难的精神呐，守护了我们的医疗。医疗有今天，我要感恩的人真多啊。
The celebration continued as everyone was grateful and happy. The spirit of protecting health and love carries on.
Mustafa Kamal, an 18-year-old dialysis patient from Kedah, Malaysia, is about to accept a kidney transplant from his mother. While waiting for the operation, he could not find a charity organization willing to help him undergo kidney dialysis. Fortunately, Tzu Chi stepped forward, and though dialysis has been done for 5 months only, Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit has taken root in his heart.
I often hear outsiders saying that dialysis is very difficult and painful, not to mention the fact I want to work. My head is always spinning with such thoughts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boleh masuk.
Tadi duduk 2 orang je dalam orang lain tak tengok tu dia tak segan sikit.
The 18-year-old Mustafa, who was pursuing his dreams, had to pause because of kidney failure.
I had applied to several dialysis centers, but none of them accepted me.
The doctor doesn't know when the transplant will be available, as the transplant operation also needs to be arranged. Gigi was our last hope. The child has nowhere to go, and I can't afford the expensive dialysis fee.
Tzu Chi was willing to help and accepted Mustafa's application. After learning that his mother was going to donate a kidney, Tzu Chi also encouraged his son to express his love to his mother.
Thank you untuk Imam sebab
I want to express my gratitude to my mother. She not only nurtures me and allows me to grow up, but now also donates a kidney to me. I'm really touched and grateful to her.
Mustafa is about to go to Kuala Lumpur for surgery. While looking forward to a new life, he starts to miss everything here at the center.
Walaupun saya duduk sini 5 bulan,
Although I have only done kidney dialysis for 5 months here, I'm still very happy to be able to do dialysis here. This has inspired my gratitude. I want to give back to Tzu Chi, as I want to learn how Tzu Chi helps others.
Tzu Chi's long-term care recipient, Miss Hong, suffers from cancer, while her son suffered from a stroke. The two couldn't clean the house and trash piled up at their home. Tzu Chi volunteers came to care and clean, changing a new environment for them both.
Walking into Miss Hong's house, it is visible that trash is piled up everywhere. There is also very limited space for movement. The smells didn't stop Tzu Chi volunteers as they continued to clean.
Ms. Hong has to make several visits to the hospital. I was worried because there might be an unclean environment. Her son came back from China to do rehab and is unable to help his mother.
Given the space of 20 square meters, the first step of cleaning starts from the kitchen. Moving away the rice cooker, the rice that is left over on the table is now moved to several trash bags.
Normally, if there's trash, we throw it out. But Miss Hong doesn't do so. She just leaves it. Now we teach her, if there's trash, you throw it into the trash bag.
Around 10 volunteers shared the task of throwing away trash bags and folding clothes. During the process of cleaning, there is a surprising discovery. These paintings are done by Miss Hong. At the age of 87, she is living a tough life.
When I wanted to buy groceries, sometimes the vendors would not take money from me. The volunteers have done a great job cleaning and give me a good environment.
After the extensive cleaning process and the swapping of old furniture, the small kitchen had now become cleaner and organized, elevating the living quality of the household.
Next, we take a look at Pingtong's Tzu Chi volunteer Cho Rui-Tang, whose life turned for the better after meeting Zhang Guiying 25 years ago. Although Cho is disabled, now he's responsible for driving the recycling truck and is also a documenting volunteer who films memorable events.
At that time, nobody did it, so my mom encouraged me to learn to drive.
Tzu Chi, who doesn't know many Chinese characters, overcame these difficulties to get his driving license. Because Zhang Guiying's mother passed away 24 years ago and nobody drove recycling truck, so he took initiative to do it.
He told me, now nobody helps you, so I want to take your mother's place to help you. I said, are you serious? I love you so much.
Tang is learning disabled, but Zhang Guiying takes care of him patiently. So Tang calls her mom.
My mom kept reminding me to an extent that I don't know what to do.
All the way, I think he's more obedient than my own son. He will do whatever I say, so I have confidence in him. In the end, he told me it's done by me. Everyone knew me. I told him, no, people said you did better than myself.
He not only goes early and returns late every day to do recycling, but also undertakes the work of documenting volunteer.
His mom bought him a laptop. I helped him install the software for video editing. Then I started teaching him. After talking for a while, I found that he didn't understand because he didn't know how to read. Be that as it may, he can make good videos by himself.
Just like the scenes of the disaster areas during the typhoon miracle, it was him who sued them.
During the flood, we couldn't go to the disaster area. It just happened that Tang lived in Jiadong. Then he started recording the disaster and he called me after finishing. Teacher, I have finished already. What should I do now?
The obedient Tang closely followed their footsteps, overcoming many obstacles, and steadily embarks on Tzu Chi's path.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Shuling, New Taipei City promoted a campaign to reduce the usage of plastics, with many local businesses supporting it. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and goodbye.